very high, and that is what you need for a solid foundation. For people to know that when they come to Nigeria, there will be no corruption, people will be honest in all their dealings. That is a solid foundation for tourism and investments to thrive. First of all, if you talk about corruption, corruption takes two. So if people come with a corrupt intent and they attract Nigerians who have corrupt intentions, that will grow tourism. But with our president and what he's been doing since he came into power, people are afraid to be corrupt. People are afraid to do illegal things. That is a very positive aspect and foundation for investment in Nigeria. Be it tourism, be it real estate investment, be it agriculture, agro-allied, you name it, you know. Now, one of the best things that we have going for us, with the GDP growth all over the world, in the developed countries, is the negative. Africa is positive from 6, 7, 8, and 9. Those are the ranges of the GDP growth and the economic growth of African countries. At Nigeria, we're doing about 7%. Imagine, that is amazing. So that is something growing for us. We also have the largest and the fastest growing economy in Africa today. We also have the largest population. Imagine an investor coming to sell his product to 175 million people. That is awesome. So it's fantastic. But not only that, people are looking for vacation opportunities. People have money and they have choices. One of the best things going for us today is that we have fantastic weather. We have amazingly friendly and warm people. Hospitality is just natural to Nigerians. And there's nothing we don't have. We have ethnicity, unity in our ethnicity. We have over 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria. And incredible tourism sites and all that, you know. So there's a lot going on for Nigeria now. We have a lot to sell. Just to talk about the importance of tourism, the global contribution of tourism to the GDP in the world today, last year was being 10%. This year, because of the slightly tourism activities in the Middle East, it's come down to 9.8%. But it's been hovering between 9.8 and 10% in the past 5 years. So tourism is contributing 10% to the global GDP. And you have all the other countries like Gambia. Gambia is doing about 17.7%. Egypt is doing about 13.7%. South Africa today is doing about 9.6%. A country as Mexico, which has more or less the same size as us, is doing about 14.8%. Kenya, another African country, is doing 12%. Cuba, last year was doing 6%. This year, Cuba is doing 11.2%. Imagine the growth. Because of speculation, political issues always affect the tourism attraction of people. Cuba last year was doing 6%, but this year they began to talk about lifting the embargo, and that shot Cuba tourism to 11.2% in just such a short time. So it shows you that tourism has an amazing potential, and it just has so much to offer. What you call domestic tourism. Domestic tourism is what you call local tourism. You know there are 3 different types of tourism. You have the outbound, where Nigerians go out, which is not my favorite, because we want people to come in. But our favorite is domestic tourism. And that is what has led someone like me and my team to travel around the whole of Nigeria. We've been traveling all around. We've gone to the 6 geopolitical zones. We've visited almost 30 states. And some states will continue to go. They will call me, oh, Katsina, the Durban in Katsina is nicer than, is bigger than the Durban in Kano. So it's okay, we're going to go check out the Durban in Katsina. Oh, Daura, if you go to Daura, there's a beautiful pit there. I have pictures, really beautiful pictures I can show you of all the things that are going on. But I also like to say that there are different types of tourism that are very successful in Nigeria. We have cultural tourism, we have beach tourism, we have wildlife and ecotourism. We have religious tourism, which is excellent in Nigeria. We have education and scientific tourism. So these are all the different types of tourism that we have. We also have what you call entertainment tourism. And in entertainment tourism, Nollywood has gone, ballistics, creating an amazing awareness of what Nigeria has to offer. So in Nollywood and music and entertainment tourism, we're doing excellently well, And we have also business tourism. Business tourism is doing very well in Nigeria. People are streaming into Nigeria every day. This is the next frontier. Africa is the next haven, and Nigeria is the top of the list. Because now, like I said, corporate governance is top on our list. That is just makes everything fantastic. Investors are trooping in. Just a week ago, a whole delegation came from Mexico. Businessmen with deep pockets. What were they looking for? They want to invest in Nigeria. And we show them all the beautiful things Nigeria has to offer. We have religious tourism. It's doing very, very well in Nigeria. Last year, we had 4.8 million people come into Nigeria. Out of those 4.8 million people, 1 million people came strictly for religious tourism. We have religious tourism in the north, we have religious tourism in the south. Then we have medical tourism, we have cultural tourism, we have conference tourism is doing very well. Abuja, for example, is a conference tourism haven. We also have agro-tourism and eco-tourism, medical tourism, sports tourism. If you go to Kaduna, we have polo. You go to Kano. Kano has incredible polo and golf. We have golf tourism just abound in Nigeria. Nigerians to visit, leave their place of abode. For example, a clean, clear UNWTO definition of tourism says that tourism is leaving your place of residence or work for more than a day to go and visit other areas. So if I in the south decide to go to Kano or Kaduna or Katsina, I'm leaving my own place. And why do we say domestic tourism? We're talking of domestic tourism because it creates unity, it creates awareness, and it creates jobs. Domestic tourism is key because we have population is our advantage. And what that means is that we will have people no longer gravitating towards the cities because the local communities are hosting the tourism sites. And so why do we want domestic tourism? It will unify Nigerians together. It will bring peace. It will bring tolerance. If I from the south, I know your culture and you're from the north, I will understand you better. If you say something, I will not misinterpret it because I know where you're coming from. If somebody from the north goes to the east and visits a tourism site, gets to understand our food, even listen to our language, it creates tolerance. Domestic tourism unifies Nigerians. But above all, it creates jobs. Why do I say this? Tourism is the greatest employer of labor in the world today. It has contributed over 6 trillion jobs in America, for example. And last year, tourism, I told you earlier that it contributed 10% of the global GDP. It also has a related, that's about 7.3% of the expenditure, in dollars. And that's quite incredible. 7.3 trillion, over 7.3 trillion US dollars related expenditure. And you know that the nature of tourism sites, the tourism, this is what I'd like to say, that the government should be focusing, and I think they are focusing on areas of the government, of the economy, that are labor intensive. By labor intensive, it means that you need a lot of people to do those jobs, you know what I mean? So what it means is that tourism, if you invest in tourism, let me give you an example of what I mean. In Nigeria alone, we have about 11,000 hotels. Registered is about 4,273, and the others are unofficially, but they're all operating. 11,000 hotels. Imagine the value chain of recruitment that is going on, the employment that has been created all through that value chain. Then we have about 30,000 restaurants in Nigeria. Can you imagine the skilled and unskilled labor that we're creating through that? So imagine if we add on to this list the visits to the tourism sites. Out of 170 million people, there are 20 million Nigerians just travel from A to B and B to Z and all that. We are integrating. We create integration of culture, unification, and better tolerance of each other. 20 million people who engage and they spend $2,000 of their per capita income. That will give you $4 billion US dollars. That is the potential of domestic tourism. So that is what I keep to say, that tourism must be a domestic tourism activity. People must follow domestic tourism. Nigerians, I mean, how are we going to sell? How will I sell to the foreigners if I've not sold tourism to my own people? First of all, I'm selling it to myself by traveling all over Nigeria. I've visited all the 6 zones, and I continue to visit. Now, what this creates is that it creates jobs. If 10 people are visiting a tourism site today, in a local community. It will reduce crime as well. You must diversify. This is the time. We must diversify. Let me tell you the difference between investing in agriculture, solid minerals, and tourism. In solid minerals, it takes you 3 to 5 years to turn around the solid mineral. Secondly, you need experts, technical expertise from abroad. We don't have Nigerians who understand solid minerals. If you compare that to agriculture, to export cocoa, a ton of cocoa you will earn $2,500 US. That's a lot of money in Naira today. $2,500 is what you need for the turnaround of cocoa. Cocoa takes 3 to 5 years to get that cycle to come through. Now that same $2,500, you give it to a tourist. He will arrive at the airport, he will take transport, so you calculate his transportation to the venue of where he goes to see. Is it for religious tourism? Is it for cultural? Is it for festivals? Is it for exhibitions? Is it sports tourism? Is he going to watch a polo game? Or is he going for a Durban and Kano or Durban and Katsina, you know? These are things that we want to know that people are doing. And so that is what domestic tourism does for us. Well, I think the major hindrance is awareness. People do not know, and I'm going to show you pictures today that will blow your mind. You know, you must see them. Let me just show you just a few pictures. These are places I've been to. We can start, for example, we have some of our tourist attractions. You have Mambila Plateau, that is in Taraba State. We have Minjibir Tourist Resort, that is in Kano. Wow. And they have polo there, they have a lake, beautiful, spectacular, they have conference tourism, you can have board meetings there, you can have a lot of things there. This is Kano. Kano is also the fastest growing city outside Lagos, commercial growing city. They have incredible bridges, very long. Wow. That's Kano. We have Obudu Ranch, we have La Campagne Tropicana in Lagos State, Obudu Ranch is in Cross River State. We have the slave routes, you have in Calabar, you have in Badagry, you have in all over the place. You also have in the south, in Port Harcourt as well. We have in Abuja here, Zuma Rock. We have Oshafat Poultry Village. We have national parks. We have incredible, a whole lot of things. And what we have done is that we have gone ahead and prepared what you call a tourism map. So if you look at the map of Nigeria, you will see here the rivers, the mountains, the caves. It's just so beautiful. And national parks and things like that, so that you know where to go to. This, for example, is Abuja, our Abuja city. You have the mosque. Okay, and you have the clinical center, the Christian center. What are the areas of investment here? This is what we're talking about. We can have public toilets, and whoever invests in Nigeria can brand the event. Then we have here, this is Katsina State. In Katsina, this is the northwestern part of Nigeria. This is a Kosugu well. This well can encourage agro-tourism. People can have a ranch here, you know. And here you have Katsina State, an overview. And look at the Durbar. We have incredible Durbars in Katsina, you know. And I've been made to understand that the Durbar in Katsina is much bigger than the one in Kano. So these are just things for people to know. Here we have in Nigeria 2 World Heritage Sites. One is the Sukur Kingdom. It's in Adamawa State, and that is in the northeast. And I'd like to say that I've been to Adamawa 3 to 4 times. I went there recently. The south is relatively very safe. They have incredible lakes all over, powerful ambience, and the king of the local community took me to see all these things. So you can see here now, this is a World Heritage Site. The area of investment here, for example, would be hotels. We will need hotels, medium to large size hotels, and public toilets for people to convenience for them. Then here you have in Kebbi State, Argungu Fishing Festival. And this is just amazing. This is here, we can have investors, we can put up hotels. Because our population is so large, there's so much advantage for investors. You can never have too many hotels. You know, so this is Kebbi Festival. We can have a mini mall there, and also convenience for people. This is Kano. You can see this pit. I've been here, and the seven tribes of the Haisa tribes, they do the cloth to reflect it. It's just so beautiful. And this pit here is over 600 years old. Imagine that history. Here would need a textile industry. They can have a ranch. You can get investors who can build a ranch in Kano State to encourage this. We can also have more hotels. Kano has other things like museums and all that, but we have the Minjibir, which I showed you. Sure. This is Kaduna, for example. This is sports tourism. in Kaduna. We also have sports tourism in Kano. You have polo, we have polo clubs in Lagos, in Abuja, in Kaduna, in Ibadan. We have golf galore. People have looked at golf, the top golf courses in Nigeria. You have this in Ondo State, you have IBB International Golf Center, you have in Lagos State, and you have the Meridian. We also have in Ogun State, because I used to work in Lafarge, we have fantastic golf. People from abroad come there on vacation, and the lodging is beautiful. You can invite investors, for example, to create more lodging locations there. Then here is Taraba. This is one of our best. Mambila Plateau is the most beautiful, breathtaking site you can ever imagine. God-given beauty, just so spectacular. It is breathtaking. You hold your breath when you get there. But what do we need there? We need investors to come and put up a hotel. First class, that is a first class nature tourism site given to us by God. Mambila Plateau, that is in Taraba State, and it is in the northeastern part of Nigeria. We need cable cars there. We lack investors to bring cable cars, hotels. They can also have a ranch there or a dairy farm. And I'm sure you've heard about the Highland tea. Incredible, beautiful, just incredible green. This is just, people can just go there to view and relax for a week or so. Nigeria is a landmark of 972,000 square kilometers of land. That is massive. The areas where there's security issues, there's just 3 little areas in the north, in the northern part. And the north is so vast. There's so many places. Look at Yankari National Park, for example. Yankari is in Bauchi. They have beautiful game reserve there. They have safari, we need safari vehicles there. We need hotels in Yankari, for example. So safety, what I'd like to say is that security is not peculiar to Nigeria. Israel, since 1946, has been dealing with terrorism. The Jerusalem Hotel was bombed in 1946. Israel continues today to deal with terrorism, but you cannot tell me that Israel is not first when it comes to religious tourism. They are. In spite of the bombing going on, they just manage it. Now that is where it comes to people like you, our journalists. They have to know what they call, practice what they call developmental journalism. There is bad news, but there's also other good things that are happening about Nigeria, fabulous things. I'm a very good example that Nigeria has so much to offer. I've lived all my life here, did my education here, got married in Nigeria, had all my children in Nigeria. My children went to school in Nigeria. I also went to school here. I've told her a fabulous success story. This is just an example that I look like this, but I'm very proud of what Nigeria has made me. It's so difficult to choose, I have to tell you, because I've been to the north, south, east, and west. But the place that really touches my heart, that when you go there, you forget all your worries, is Mambila Plateau. And it does need investment. We need to have a lodge that would make the place easier for people to get to. Access to the place, the journey there has to be even more accessible. But more importantly, investment by way of hotels, lodging, and then public conveniences. Mambila Plateau is amazing. Yankari Game Reserve is excellent. It's very beautiful. Again, we need investment there. We need investment in hotels, investment in have a ranch around there. There's so many investments you can have in Yankari. I also like Katsina. Katsina because it has a lot of potential. It's very similar to Kano. Kano is also quite nice. You see, if you ask me, I'll just keep talking because I never have a favorite, because and some places I've gone to so many times. I've been to Kaduna 3 times. I've been to Katsina, I've been to Kano, but I haven't been to Daura. So we have to go to that pit. I want to see them because we can create branding. We can get a corporate foreign investor to brand it and a Nigerian private sector. You see, the thing about tourism is it's a private sector activity. Therefore, it must be owned and driven by the private sector, and not enough of that is being done. So when you ask me about my challenges, like you did earlier, that's one of our challenges, that the private sector is not embracing tourism like it should be. It's considering that tourism creates the largest employer of labor, it contributes 10% of the global GDP. Nigeria, we're doing only about 4%, just under 5% in the past 3 to 4 years. We've not exceeded 4.5 or 5%. That's not good enough considering the potentials that we have. We also have Obudu Ranch. Obudu Ranch is another mistake, beautiful landscape. But there's access to it. It's a problem. We need a landing strip there. there is a landed strip, but it's about this short, so we need an investor to have it extended so that people can land there. Then in places like Ondo State is beautiful. You can just take a flight from here to Ondo State and you can land on a helicopter pad of their medical tourism facilities. There's a beautiful hospital there. They have a marine festival, they have a resort there. There are beautiful mountains and hills all over the place, you know. So Budu Ranch for the south is very good. For the east, I love Enugu. Enugu has incredible, Enugu and Abia. Abia because of its historical memories. The Civil War was there. And you know, the history in the schools has not been very progressive. We would like history to go back into primary and secondary school, at least secondary schools, so that youth can have an idea. So Abia State gives a good, there's a war museum there. You see the Ojuku bunker, you see the tankers that were used for the war. It's interesting for the children to go there. So what I think is really important is for the schools to include visits to tourism sites on their school curriculum. And also education tourism. It would be good for me to leave Delta State where I come from and go to school in Kano. That is all part of education tourism. These are things that we do that happen there.